Welcome! My name is Mike, and I'll be your instructor for the day. I've been with Wright State University's IT department for 4 years and spent the years before that working at Wittenberg University. Today we'll cover issues faced as an IT trainer and ways to combat them. Today's SMART learning objectives. By the end of today's presentation, instructors will be able to articulate reasons why training might not be effective. Instructors will be able to synthesize the importance of using quizzing and other testing methods during training sessions. Instructors will be able to demonstrate how quizzing and activities to reinforce information retrieval during training sessions matters. Instructors will be able to create homework activities for the attendees to counter the forgetfulness that occurs when attendees get back to their desks and jobs. In my experience, a user is expected by their supervisor to be competent and confident after software training. Unfortunately, some study habits the trainees have may be detrimental to their success. The material included today is backed by both laboratory and classroom testing. There won't be any additional cost associated. You don't need to change the material or your textbook. I'll show you how to use what you already do in ways that teach your students successful strategies for long-term recall of information. Practices such as rereading the text, highlighting passages they think are important, and passive note-taking during lectures are all the usual ways students study. When it's time to use the software, many students rely on reviewing notes. This strategy proves ineffective over time. When students reread the text or notes, the tendency is for the student to start thinking they know the information. This gives a false sense of confidence. When put to the test later back at the office, the employee will recall much less information when using notes as a learning strategy. When it comes to classroom training, success is measured by how much information the attendee retains and how effectively they can use the software in different situations when they return to the job. In one study, students quizzed immediately after a class retained 39% of the information when quizzed again a week later. In that same study, students who were not quizzed after class, but instead quizzed a week later, retained only 28% of the same information. The concept of interleaving is to break up practice for a topic before a student starts to believe they've mastered it. Rather than presenting a block of similar questions or problems, mixing problems together for varied practice forces students to determine how to solve the problem along with the problem solutions. Consider the effect of incorporating time delays between learning material and assessment. Research by Agarwal, Roediger, and McDermott shows a marked difference when the students need to work to recall and reuse the information. Low or no value frequent quizzing helps cement the material and levels the playing field between different types of learners when it comes to recall. Whether or not the student receives an A on the test, research shows the learning is happening at a more superficial level. Rather than true mastery of the material, where the students can build on it and apply it in other situations, this surface learning is quickly lost. Employees may tend to rely so much on their existing habit of note-taking that they can't stay focused on what you're saying in the moment. Put them at ease by sharing your notes. If you've constructed follow-up information or practice activities, let them know about those as well.
The way most companies and trainers were taught to build presentations consists primarily of bullet points and cramming material into as few slides as possible. This method doesn't fit with the way people can actually digest information. This type of layout or design leads to overwhelming the students with too much at a time. People learn through both visual and auditory cues. Rather than overwhelm trainees with lots of text on the screen to read and comprehend, give them an image related to the topic, a short amount of text, and then complete the thought by speaking the rest so your students understand more of the information at once.
Starting the day with a group assessment gives each student a way to initiate recall of their current knowledge and a way to figure out what is missing without the pressure of individually identifiable results. According to Dr. Eric Mazur, peer instruction helps both struggling and more advanced students. Through collaboration, they can work to correct their learning of material they might be misunderstanding while reinforcing correct information. The peer collaboration can also inform the instructor, giving insight into problem areas. Giving the students a mini quiz as a conversation starter, more questions will start to come out as answers are discussed among the class participants. Your trainees can get another recall session in, and you have an opportunity to correct any misunderstanding on their part. During these mini quiz stops between topics or sections of the training, you can mix in questions from previous sections. As you go through the session, students will be required to recall information, continuing the process of making connections to knowledge gained during the session. Treating testing as a goal rather than as a learning tool focuses the student on memorization for success rather than mastery of the material and understanding of the information. Keeping the stakes low or non-existent removes the goal, making it about the trainee's learning and not the score. Even without technology, engaging students with some form of color-coded replies scribbled on paper in sheet protectors, playing cards, etc., can provide an opportunity for recall, corrective feedback, and won't call out a potentially anxious student. Remember the research we've discussed today. Mix up the questions, give trainees a chance to quiz themselves later after getting back to their desks, and provide a way for them to put some work into recalling the material they learned during the training session. We've addressed why activities and effortful recall are ideal components to add into your training regimen. We also covered ways to reinforce and provide ongoing opportunities for them to refresh their memories and continue building connections between the training and their daily lives.